Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KNCO's On the Town. On this Monday, we are at Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital, and my guest today is Dr. Jeffery Rosenberg, Chief Medical Officer for Dignity Healthcare, Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital. Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you, John. Thank you for inviting me today.
So I did a little research and was on your website.
Yes, sir.
And you've got one heck of an educational background.
Thank you.
And I'd like to start there so people kind of get to know what you're made of from a medical standpoint. So share with us, first of all, where you went to undergrad.
Okay. Well, I just want to say that I tell most people that I didn't get a real job until I was 37 years old. I started an undergraduate at UC Berkeley, and
Okay.
I was what you would call heavily undeclared. My father was a physician, but at the time I didn't know that I wanted to follow into his footsteps. But I had some personal issues. My mother actually passed away just before I started college.
Oh, my goodness.
For an 18-year-old in an environment like Berkeley, that was not a good situation. So I transferred from Berkeley down to Los Angeles to be closer to my father,
Okay.
and finished up at University of Southern California for my Bachelor in Science and Biology. And that was, I believe, in 1979.
So you completed your residency at Harvard UCLA Medical Center, and then at Kaiser Permanente Foundation in Oakland.
Correct. So
Two residencies.
Well, it was all part of general surgery.
Oh, okay.
I started out at Harvard UCLA Medical Center in Carson, California,
Okay.
and I did 2 years there of general surgery. General surgery at the time was 5 years. However, they liked to take people and put them in the lab for 2 years, which didn't count towards those 5. And they offered me that, and I didn't really want to do that. So I looked to continue somewhere else where I could just be clinical. So I got a job at, or an offer, a placement at Kaiser Hospital, Oakland, the original Kaiser Hospital to take care of the Alameda shipyard workers.
That's where it all started.
Yes. And I repeated my second year, so I did 4 years there. So, but essentially it's a 5-year program. And I completed that in 1989.
Okay.
And however, I decided during that time period I wanted to go on to thoracic surgery, surgery in the chest.
Right.
And usually you apply in your third year, but I decided late, so I applied in my fourth year. So I had what is commonly known now as a gap year. So I was fortunate enough to get a job at Kaiser San Francisco in their cardiovascular surgery unit as a fellow. So I did a year there, and that was excellent training. They had a 10-bed intensive care unit there, and I got to take care of all those intensive care unit patients, and they also, I was in on all of their cardiovascular surgeries. I got to work up patients. I got it like a pre-year of my cardiothoracic surgery. So by the time I went to Syracuse, New York, at State University of New York upstate to do a 2-year program there in cardiopulmonary surgery, I felt like I was kind of ahead of the game. And so I completed there in 1992.
Wow. When did you first decide you want to be a doctor?
Not really until I was about 20 years old. I had gone on house calls with my father when
Okay.
I was 5 years old, and he had the black bag, he had morphine, he had digoxin.
Right to the bedside.
Right to the bedside. And, you know, obviously I admired that, but frankly, he just worked really hard. And as any young person trying to figure out what they want to do with their life, I didn't know that I wanted to really compete with that. But as I had people help me through challenges in my, you know, late teens, early 20s, I decided that I wanted to give back, and I really wanted to devote myself to medicine. So that was another reason why it took me a little bit longer, because I hadn't done any science my first 2 years. So when I went to USC, I had to do all of my pre-med requirements and all that. So it took me about 3 years to do that.
Okay.
So I was kind of 5 years in undergrad.
So you're married?
I am married. Met my wife in San Francisco when I was rotating through cardiopulmonary surgery at Kaiser San Francisco on Divisadero and Geary. And we were actually in the city the night of the big earthquake. That was
89?
Yeah, bookmarked by the
World
San Francisco-Oakland World Series.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
driving down to Divisadero, and the streets were just like rolling, and I didn't know what was going on, if it was me or whatever, and I saw the glass like going like that. And my wife was working on Bush Street at the time, so I had to make my way down there to pick her up. We were going to go watch the game, but I had to go pick her up and find her. And all these gargoyles were on the middle of the street on Bush and everything. We had ended up spending the night in the city and everything. But I met Jeanette, and we were married in 1988, and then we had 2 boys about 5 years later after I'd finished all my training, and we moved to San Diego for my first real job at 37 years old.
What are your boys up to?
My boys are in finance.
Okay.
I did not encourage medicine. I did not tell them they couldn't do it, but they both seem to like finance. So one's in New York. He did investment banking for 2 years. Now he's working with an equity firm, and he's looking to go back to grad school. He's got some applications in. And the other one is working in Century City for J.P. Morgan, and then will be for 2 years, and then is going to be taking another job in downtown Los Angeles in finance, and then probably will go for the grad school approach. And I think they'd like to open their own business together and maybe with another friend, because they figure if they're working this hard, they might as well be working for themselves.
That's right.
They spend a lot of hours. It's almost really harder than even being in medicine, if you could believe that. And I spent a lot of sleepless nights being on call every other night. But their schedule is really strenuous.
But reimbursements for their work is probably...
At their age, they're doing quite well. They
Yeah.
don't ask me for money anymore. So that's nice.
So you and your wife took an MBA course together online.
That's correct.
And
So-
you did that because?
To be competitive. We did that I think we finished in 2015, so we
Oh, so
started in
recently.
2013.
Okay.
It's a 2-year program. It was 14 courses. And I did it because I was we were having a lot of changes in some of the cardiothoracic surgeons at the hospital I was working at. So to stay competitive with them, because I'd been there for a long time, I noticed that one of them said that he had an MBA, which actually at the time he didn't. He was studying to get an MBA, and I actually finished the program before him. But anyway, I went to do that, and I was also doing a lot of medical staff leadership and working with a lot of administrators, and I thought it would be good for me to understand the language, to be able to communicate with them. And I'm really glad that I did it.
Have you seen benefits of
absolutely.
in the work you've been doing?
Absolutely, yes. I think that my sons, who are business majors in college, have a much greater understanding of business than I do, even though I have a master's. But it's been very helpful, and I understand, I know what a balance sheet is and things like that. So I can speak finance.
So let's get to your role here at Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital.
Yes.
You were attracted here because?
Well, I was looking to transition into administration because I like that kind of work, and I didn't think it was sustainable to continue doing cardiothoracic surgery into my early 60s, which was very physically demanding and so forth. And it was kind of hard to leave because I really was at the top of my career and so forth. But I was attracted to Dignity because of their values. I'm a convert.
And you
to
had that. You heard
Catholicism.
that reputation.
Yes.
In Southern California.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Listen, is it okay to call you Jeffrey?
Yes, sir.
Jeffrey, we have to take our first commercial break.
Okay.
My guest is Dr. Jeffery Rosenberg, Chief Medical Officer, Dignity Healthcare, Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. This is Jon Katis with KNCO. We're on the town at Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital with Dr. Jeffery Rosenberg, Chief Medical Officer, Dignity Health, Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital. Jeffrey, great to have you.
Thank you, John. It's great to be here.
So what have you found here in Nevada County that you really, really like?
Well, it is a small town, and I've never really lived in a small town before,
yeah.
but people are very friendly. I mean, they'll talk to you and have conversations with you and are interested in you. So I really like that aspect. And I noticed that about the people in the hospital, and that was one of the things that attracted me to coming here.
Okay. You bought a house, obviously.
Did buy a house. We rented for 6 months over off of West Main Street, and that was very nice. But we bought a house up at Ridge Meadows in the new subdivision.
Oh, and that brand new
they
one.
had there. Yes, very nice. And we moved in March of 2018, and so my wife and I have been there, and it's home now.
So really describe your role as the chief medical officer. On a day-to-day basis, what do you do?
Well, I'm an administrator.
Okay.
I don't practice medicine.
That's why I found you up here this
Yes.
morning. Okay.
And I do have to have an active California medical license, which I do have. And all of my other things are still up to date, and I really like that, like my my DEA license, my board certification, and all those sort of things. But you need to have a active California medical license. And I'm employed by Dignity Health.
Okay.
But I'm here at Sierra Nevada, and we're one of 6 hospitals in the greater Sacramento service area. So I frequently interact with the other chief medical officers.
Okay, I
at
was
the
going to
other
ask.
hospital.
There's counterparts to each of those.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm a vice president. I'm part of the executive management team here, and my main role is to work mostly with the medical staff, and then to be a liaison between the medical staff and the administration. And I also, what I'm directly responsible for is quality of care, although the quality in the hospital is really under the auspices of the medical staff, and they report directly to the board of directors. And then also medical staff services, and then I recently acquired the pharmacy.
So when Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital became a CHW hospital back in the 90s, whenever, there was a lot of concern in the community that the board would lose its control of the hospital. Now, with Dignity, I mean, are there Dignity personnel on the Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital board?
No.
Okay.
No, they're all community members who are on the board. Actually, that's not exactly true, because we have one president from currently Mercy San Juan who's on the board.
Okay.
So he's a Dignity Health person, but the chairman of the board is a community member, and all the other board members are community members. And then the executive team's on the board, but we're not voting members. The only executive who's a voting member is the president, who has been Kathy Medeiros, but as of December 2nd is now Brian Evans.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Dr. Brian Evans?
Correct.
From
He's
the ER?
back. That's the man.
Whoa. So
Yes.
Kathy retired.
Kathy is retiring. She's here until January 4th, so
Okay.
they're kind of a dyad right now until January 4th.
Well, the ladies in the community will be happy Brian is back.
Yes, Brian's very personable,
Very
very
personable.
talented individual, great physician, great person.
He did a show on KNCO.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And Kathy was served this community faithfully for 13 years.
Wow.
She did a tremendous job. She's a wonderful person. She's one of the reasons why I also really like this hospital. We were very like-minded, had a lot of the same beliefs, and it's just been a pleasure working with her. She's supported me 100% and let me be very independent, which I like.
I read what she said about you in the union.
Well, sometimes she kind of fibs, but...
So with the 6 Dignity Health hospitals, are services uniform throughout 6, or do they vary from hospital to hospital?
They vary from hospital to hospital. I wouldn't say that we have specific areas that just do only one thing, but we do, like Mercy General Hospital and Mercy San Juan are the only 2 hospitals that do cardiac surgery. There's Methodist Hospital, there's Woodland. Woodland Hospital has the only inpatient psychiatric unit for the greater Sacramento service area also, yes. Our patients are served by Nevada County, so oftentimes Nevada County finds placement for our patients who require that sort of inpatient service. And we work very closely with them. I think you're going to ask me later on maybe about behavioral health and some of our partnerships. But we for cardiology, we only have diagnostic. We do bread and butter stuff, is what I would say.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what the heck is that?
Bread and butter. We have general surgery. We have
I see.
We have orthopedic trauma. We have cardiology. We have a hospitalist program. We have an ICU doctor, but we have tele-ICU resources from some of our other hospitals within the system that help out. We have nephrologists. We have a lab with pathology. I'm probably leaving out some other services, but those sorts of things. So if you need tertiary care, we have urology, we have ENT, plastics. But if you need tertiary care someplace, if you needed to have a robotic prostatectomy for prostate cancer, we would refer you out. If you needed to have a cardiac catheterization or a stent or cardiac surgery, we would refer you out. If you had something that was really beyond what we felt that we could take care of here, we would refer you out. And that's one of the benefits of being part of Dignity Health is we have those resources available. And we build partnerships, relationships with people, so we know the doctors when we call them and talk to them.
I'd like to get your opinion on something from a personal standpoint.
Absolutely.
I have a wife and a daughter who both are affected by Graves' disease.
Yes.
And we have to go to Sacramento
Yes.
for an endocrinology visit.
Yes. I just saw something.
And that's been forever.
Yes. I believe that there is some teleendocrinology provided through the Dignity Health Medical Foundation. We've been trying, and I just had a conversation the other day with Dr. Patricia Onstrander to see if she'd be interested in doing some teleendocrinology here.
That would be
we
awesome.
don't really have that. And I saw from Bob Weeb, the chief physician executive in all of Dignity Health, who just sent a survey monkey out asking if we'd be interested in something like teleendocrinology. So we really would like to do that. We also have a great cancer center here.
Well, I was
Both
going to get to
radiation oncology
Oh.
and medical oncology.
that. And it's been awesome. You know,
Yes.
Bill Newsom, who created
Yes.
this whole thing, just
Yes.
an awesome doctor, an awesome human being,
Yes.
and created just the most unbelievable cancer center for
Yes.
a hospital of this size.
Yes, and we're an accredited cancer center, and we're one of the only 3 hospitals within Dignity, the greater Sacramento service area, that is in that regional cancer center. And actually, Dr. Krause, our radiation oncologist here, is actually the chairman of that committee. And Deb Plass, our vice president of operation, has been instrumental in overseeing some of the operations of the cancer center and being a friend of the cancer community.
I had Dr. Krause on the town just before the prostate screening.
Yes.
Great human being.
Great human being, outstanding radiation oncologist, very meticulous, just the type of person you want to have looking after your radiation oncology. And then he has a partner, Dr. Richard Evans, who works here as well. And then on the medical oncology side, we have Dr. David Campbell and Dr. Hung, who are here.
All right, we need to take our final commercial break. We are at Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital. This is KNCO's On the Town. Dr. Jeffery Rosenberg, Chief Medical Officer here at Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital, is my guest. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to our KNCO's On the Town. We are at Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital with Dr. Jeffery Rosenberg, Chief Medical Officer here. And what a great conversation.
Thank you.
What a great addition to our community. I'm
Thank you so
very
much.
grateful that you've joined us.
I'm really happy to be here.
Let's talk about the ambulance service, because it's independently owned.
Yes, it is, by Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital, and that's a great resource for the community. And it just makes for more prompt ability to bring patients to the hospital and also to transfer them and take them to other places when they need to go. Currently, our magnetic resonance imaging is really in building for our outpatient area. So when we have patients in the hospital, they have to be transported from one level of care to another level of care. And before, there used to be a lot of delays, but recently we've instituted having our ambulance service take our patients down there, and that's really expedited it to really aid in getting our inpatients the imaging that they need.
How about the heliport? Is that used very often?
Yes, it is, and that can either, usually it takes patients away, it doesn't bring them in
Right.
too often, but it's
They
very
would be
active.
going somewhere else.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes.
So
People who come here, and we can triage them and stabilize them, and then if they need to go to some higher level of care, then the helicopter can take them there.
I've been involved with hospice for many years and palliative care. Is that something relatively recent that's become, I see it's part of what you guys do here as well.
Well, it's been here ever since I've been here, and I believe it's been here for several years before that. So we have an active palliative care program here.
Explain to the folks what palliative care is.
You know, that's a very good question, John, because a lot of people might be confused with that because it's not hospice care.
Right.
It's mostly helping people who have chronic conditions that sometimes are very debilitating or require a lot of attention to give them the resources that they need to be able to manage those illnesses outside of the hospital better so that they don't need to keep coming back into the hospital.
We used to call them frequent flyers. I was in
Yes.
the durable medical equipment business, taking care of pulmonary folks, and so often people just wound up back in the hospital. How have you guys been able to control that?
Well, it's a challenging problem, and I would say that we're not completely successful with it. The one group that you mentioned, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease,
Exactly.
or some people might call it emphysema, has really, that's one of those chronic diseases that you might want to get palliative care involved in.
Right.
But it's people, they might be on home oxygen or whatever. If they get a small minor respiratory infection, they end up back in the hospital for that. And so they may be managed appropriately for it and then sent out. We try to get home health services or other programs that specifically help people with that so that they don't have to keep coming back. But oftentimes, because of the nature of the disease, those people do end up back in the hospital repetitively.
And from where you sit, quality of patient care, top notch?
Very good. We have just been upgraded to Leapfrog B category. A is the best, but B is outstanding, and it's something that people can go on the website and look at the Leapfrog things. And there's particular categories of things like decreased urinary infections after having a catheter placed, or have decreased blood infections after a central line has been placed, decreased hospital-acquired pressure ulcers, decreased hospital-acquired pneumonias, things like that. So all those things are on the decline for us, and so we've been able to upgrade to this B category, but we're working towards an A. We want to be the best in everything.
How often are you evaluated?
It's an annual.
It's an annual. What about Joint Commission? Are they still involved?
Absolutely, and we're actually in what we call the window for our Joint Commission survey, which will be anytime from January to June. Hospitals have to be accredited by an institution called Joint Commission, and they come and inspect us, and we have to meet their requirements. They may have findings or whatever, but then we have to make some adjustments to those things. We just had our California Department of Health survey, which occurs every 3 years too, and it was a 4-day survey. They just were on their 4th day when the surveyors had to leave because some of them lived in Paradise, and so they didn't finish that. But we've heard, I don't know that it's official, that maybe they had enough information that they'll just complete their survey.
So as you're describing, regulatory issues have just mushroomed.
Yes, we always have to be ready for those. It's a continual preparation and education.
Well, we're about to wrap it up. Dr.
Thank
Rosenberg, thank you so much. Welcome to Nevada County.
Thank you, John.
Especially Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital, and hope you have a long and happy career here.
Thank you.
Your wife likes it?
She does, very much. She's clogging at the
my God.
Cornish Christmas on Friday.
All right.
Yes.
And have your sons been here?
They have for Thanksgiving. It was wonderful.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey, for being my guest today, and best of luck.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
So for KNCO News Talk 830, this is Jon Katis.